Welcome to the third part in a new Super Mario retrospective supported by patrons such as John Hancock, Aiden Ross, Ken Colton, and King Cosmic. If you have not seen the previous two parts, I would recommend checking those out first prior to watching this. Otherwise, welcome back, and let's get back to it.
New Super Mario Brothers 2!
If there's anything I've noticed about Nintendo over the years, it's that they seem to respond solely to sales and little else. I mean, more sales means people want more games like this, right? This seems like sound logic, until you realize Paper Mario Sticker Star sold more than both Thousand Year Door and 64. Right away, you can probably see why this philosophy is null. The sales of Sticker Star itself led to the most underperforming game in the series, Paper Mario Color Splash, a more or less follow-up to Sticker Star that nobody asked for. I bring this up because Mario Bros. Wii and DS are two of the best-selling games on their respective consoles. Wait, no. Two of the best-selling games, period. Hey look, they're right next to each other on a list of best-selling games. How about that? But while those games did extremely well and people enjoyed them, the major consensus was that, even by the second entry, things were beginning to feel a bit samey. People were just done with New Super Mario Bros. For now. Once again though, Nintendo, responding to sales and not public opinion, announced not one, but two new Super Mario games during the same E3. And to the dismay of many, these two new games looked like anything but new. Seriously. Many fans, myself included, didn't even give these games a fair shot. I mean, again, two new Super Mario games during the same exact E3.
It's clearly different from the new Wii U Mario game that Reggie talked about earlier.
We're going to be disregarding all of that and try to look at both of these on their own merits. But I wanted to make sure to give you context going in. That aside, let's look at the story. We see the brothers at Peach's castle waving goodbye to the princess so they can collect coins and giggle like idiots. Then literally 10 seconds later, all of the Koopalings appear with the princess already kidnapped. Pretty impressive time frame. But also, why would you leave the princess completely unintended like that? She gets kidnapped when people are around, for Christ's sakes. So yeah, you go have an adventure so you can save the princess and defeat Bowser or whatever, yeah, you know the drill. Things are starting to look pretty been there, done that by this point. And yeah, totally. There is somehow even less content in New Super Mario 2 than there was in the Wii version. But in terms of theming, New Super Mario 2 does more with the little it has to at least feel different. The best way to put it is that on paper, it would seem the Wii version tried harder, but in regards to execution, I would argue that 2 had more effort put into it. It's the little things, really. For one, despite using the same tired left-to-right overworld layout, NSMB2 is the only game in the entire series to finally divulge from this strange tradition of reusing all 8 world themes. The mountain theme no longer has a respective world, and the beach and jungle worlds have been compressed into a single area, which is perfectly fine by me given the last 2 beach worlds have been almost nothing but water stages anyway. So I really don't think it's much of a loss considering New Super Mario 2 mostly has a focus on the sandy beach aspect. And in their place are World Mushroom and Flower. They both share a bonus world theme, with a lot of the levels being primarily constructed out of colorful blocks. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I give it brownie points for at least being different. The overworld cannons make a return, but this time they aren't just given to you. To successfully skip a world, you have to complete a short autorunner segment, which is a cool idea. There's a lot of Mario 3 influence here, giving the game a bit more of an identity. A stolen identity, sure, but it feels more characteristic than the previous games. Of course, the raccoon leaf does make a return as well, but we also get that Mario 3 aesthetic with tons of vibrant colors and those bolted box things. Yeah, those things. I never really knew what those were, but that's pretty dang reminiscent of Mario 3. Much like Wii, most of the soundtrack here is recycled from the previous entry. You know how I was saying that the Wii had a lot of music reused? The overworld theme, the athletic theme, cave theme, mushroom house, boss music, probably some more I'm forgetting. But the point is, Mario Bros. Wii reused a lot of tunes. Well, believe it or not, New Super Mario 2 has even less new music tracks than Mario Bros. Wii did. The standout deviation, however, is they added a significant number of do's and bahs. People seem to either love or hate the decision to do this, but personally, I genuinely think it sounds cool. It has sort of an acapella feel to it. More importantly, it helps make the otherwise dull sounds of Mario Bros. Wii feel energetic once again. Check it out. So here's Wii. And then here's 2. If someone didn't like acapella, I guess I could understand why they might prefer the soundtrack in the Wii version instead. People who don't like acapella don't have a soul anyway, so who cares what they think? Overall, enough has been changed to not feel like a complete retread. That being said, I do feel guilty giving Wii the cold shoulder while praising 2, because it's not all fresh. As the intro would suggest, all of the Koopalings are back, and their encounters are nearly identical to Wii. As for the mini-castles, we see the return of Reznors from Mario World. On the plus side, you no longer have to fight each Koopaling twice. The downside being, now you have to fight these assholes every single world. Don't hold your breath on that final confrontation of Bowser either. It is a better boss fight than DS, but it's a step down from Wii as far as I'm concerned. Even though 2 of the world themes don't make a standalone appearance, the worlds that do return have eerily similar layouts to New Super Mario Bros. DS. In fact, the canon in World 1 is not only accessed by the first castle just like in DS, but even the way you find it is the same. So in the original New Super Mario Bros. DS, you went through a door, and then once you came in this room, you went off screen to the right to find a secret exit. And then in the sequel on 3DS, you also go in a door, and then once you come in this room, you go off screen to the right to find a secret exit. Nevertheless, New Super Mario Bros. 2 has one major trick up its sleeve that really distinguishes it from its peers. Well, more accurately 2 as we'll discuss later, but one that they could really market on the box. Coins everywhere! Coins from the sky, coins from the ground, coins from bricks, coins from Hammer Bros, red coins, blue coins, giant coins, butt cheeks, coins from pipes, coins from your head. Coins! Adding a ton of coins might not seem like a huge deal on its own, but it's all justified by the simple addition of a global coin counter. Yeah, that's it. Just a counter. Moreover, a coin counter might not seem like a game changer, but much like the crown in 3D World, something that should be little more than aesthetic at best. It can completely change the way you approach the game. Not only will it keep track of how many coins you've collected throughout the course of the game, but it keeps an individual coin counter high score for each stage. Due to this, I found myself doing something I never do in a Mario game. Backtracking through a level just to find coins I may have missed. In this sense, New Super Mario Bros. 2 plays sort of like a collectathon, which I don't think is a bad change if it makes it stand out from its predecessors. You would think that the coin gimmick would get old pretty dang fast, but Nintendo added a plethora of new ways to get coins. There's golden rings that make enemies start sprouting out coins, such as making Lakadoos throw out coins instead of Spinies, or even Koopa shells leaving a trail of coins whenever you throw them. Then there's the POW blocks, which will emit a coin for every block they destroy. There are these gold blocks that shoot out coins the faster you run, and geez, running as fast as you can to have this golden stream of coins trailing behind you is one of the most satisfying things I've experienced in a Mario game. Then there's the golden flower.
It's like printing my own money.
New and exclusive to NSMB2. The gold flower lets you shoot fireballs that turn blocks, enemies, you name it, into cold, hard cash. I know I said New Super Mario 2 innovates the least out of all the titles we've covered thus far, because it does. And yet, the simple change of incentivizing coin collecting heavily influenced how I approached the game, and New Super Mario 2 has my respect for that. Who knew that the addition of one simple little counter would change the entire dynamic of how a Mario game is played? And yet, here we are. I mean, hell, the fact that I would replay levels I already 100%ed just because I was signified I would be granted a gold coin block is proof enough that Nintendo's approach to the coin collection aspect was extremely effective. I have to question one design choice, however. Getting a bazillion coins in every level, and then watching a global coin counter go up is a ton of fun, but 100 coins still nets you a 1-up. You can probably see where this is going. With the new focus being on racking up a coin count, it makes the live system more trivial than ever before. By the time I finished World 1, I had 57 lives. 57 lives after World 1! and the levels aren't any harder than the ones we saw on DS or Wii, so it's not like you're realistically going to lose that many. Or at least the main levels are pretty easy. I have heard horror stories about the DLC for this game. To further trivialize it all, every single world still has the one-up houses. Look, for a second time, I'm not here to mock the skill level of anyone watching, but who the hell is going to be so bad at New Super Mario 2 that they'll be like, oh, thank God, a one-up house. I was running so low. Even beyond the coin collection aspect, the element of this game that stood out the most, believe it or not, is the level design. I don't know what to say. They are just well-designed levels. Unlike the barren wastelands of New Super Mario Fallout Edition, or at least the first half of that game, the level designs in New Super Mario 2 feel very deliberate and concise, even as early as World 1. More importantly, they are all distinct. In general, I found the stages in New Super Mario Bros. 2 to all be pretty clever. There's nothing crazy, but it's a step above the almost copy and paste presets we're used to seeing in New Super Mario. For example, in the desert world, there's a whole level that takes place on top of totem poles. I've never seen that in a Mario game before. World 1 has a level that's almost entirely made up of pipes, which, yeah, isn't anything we haven't seen in a Mario game before. But that is a very unconventional level trope for World 1. World 5 had a Sky Garden that straight up reminded me of the Sky Garden in Sonic and Knuckles, which is pretty cool. World 3 had a level where you're running on water the whole time, also very cool. Even a lot of little things create the impression of divergency, like using a cliffside backdrop during sunset for a pipe stage, or having trees in one of the World 1 stages. Yeah, sure, it might just be a bunch of trees, but for one, believe it or not, none of the other New Super Marios have giant trees within the level layouts themselves. And 2, you can fly on top of them and find hidden secrets. Honestly, it's crazy how just a little aesthetic touch can change the entire feel of a level, but I suppose that puts it in line with the coin gimmick of the game. Actually, just this game as a whole. Small changes that make a world of difference. Even though little has been updated, all of the updates present make for a surprisingly fresh experience. Plus, it just feels good to play. Even if a bunch of stuff is being recycled, there weren't that many bad parts. Hardly any water stages in comparison to its predecessor. There are no dumbass dark levels, thank God. And the stuff here, for the most part, let you take them at your own pace. And the engine is still solid. I mean, it's basically the same as the previous two titles. Though I did notice I had a couple of Sonic 2 chemical plant ass moments where I would get quote unquote squashed on seemingly nothing. Like, what the hell happened here? As far as everything else, the sound quality is nice, graphics look great for 3DS. In fact, it seems this entry specifically had the most vibrant colors. Those two bonus multiplayer modes from the Wii version are gone, but that can hardly be considered a loss. Instead, we have a coin rush mode where you try to accumulate the most coins within 3 random stages, and co-op returns in the form of wireless play. I do question why the hell you have to share the same screen if you are literally on 2 separate pieces of hardware, but the multiplayer otherwise is structurally sound. As a whole, I'm at loss for words really, because I look at this game, I see that it innovated basically nothing, and yet there I was having a great time. So many of these levels are just plain fun. Simple as that. It's just a fun game. I don't know how else to put it. People may think I'm going way too easy on New Super Mario 2, and that's probably true, but the bottom line is this. The changes made, as minor as they may be, changed not only the way I approach the levels, but the tone of the entire game, which is something that I can only say about one other entry in the entire series. But we'll get there soon enough. It's the same, it's different, it's New Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm willing to forgive a lot just because of the fun factor alone. This specific entry appears to be the most disregarded in the entire series because people tend to focus on what little it added opposed to what it did. And hey, it's hard to blame them. But coming from someone who played all of these games back to back, New Super Mario Bros. 2 is better than one may expect. And personally, I'm glad I gave it a shot. But the consensus was that people didn't care either way, because it seemed that this was little more than a stopgap until the next big entry in the series, launching on a brand new Nintendo console. Surely, this brand new hardware would finally offer us the perfect Mario Bros. Experience, right? Well, time to move on to the next one and find out. Hey, what's up? Apologies for how long this video took. Between being out of town for a week and catching the flu, I am well aware how long behind this upload was. But thanks for waiting. And thanks to patrons such as John Hancock, Anton Anything, Amanda Guth, Rami Batter, Blake Dog72, Miles Mann, Aiden Ross, Ken Colton, King Cosmic, Jeffrey Long, Cashinator, Praetorian Mars, and Abby Knudsen. And until next time, have a good one.